everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very special, exciting, educational guest here for the show today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you calling from?
Yes, I am Kelly Anne Manuel. I'm an uncommon author, and I live in Fort Mill, South Carolina, which is right outside of Charlotte. So if you're familiar at all with Charlotte, North Carolina, I'm one exit out from Charlotte proper.
Wow. That's Highway 85, I think it's called, or 65, something like that. But amazing. Oh my God. Tell me about your past. Enough about that, but tell me about your past leading up into your present, what you do now. And I have to spill the beans. This lady done created 31 books. So I want to hear about all of that.
Girlfriend, how much time do we have? Okay.
Enough, I promise you.
So I did not start writing until spring of 2022. And in that spring, in 14 days, I had 27 books. I had the manuscript and all the art in 14 days for 27 books. I had the rest of the 31 within the next week. And I did write more than that, but like I told you, I did hybrid self-publishing, so there was a cost. I limited it to 31 because that's how the longest days of in a month for a child. So it's a book a day from me. But before that, I I started out in a corporate career, and then I moved into early childhood development. And then after that, I really went into raising my son and spent really a good number of years doing that. And then we had like properties, and I did a lot of property management as well as DIY. I was a workhorse. I mean, I was in it, girlfriend. I mean, caulking, sanding, demoing, hauling, prepping beds. I mean, I was in it. But now that's a part of my life that's in the past, and I'm on my own. I've got my pup, Teddy Roosevelt. And when I left, when I found myself alone for the first time in my life, I had to do some work. Okay. I had to do some work. When I did the work, I started to hear the poetry in my heart and in my head. Wrote the poetry and realized, wait, these are nursery rhymes for children, and I must publish them. Wrote them in April, had all 31 published within August and September of the same year, converted all into audio video within the next year.
Wow, that is amazing. Tell us about each book. I'll give you the floor after this. Each book, tell us about what it represents. Tell us a excerpt from it and how it means to you to have that book. I'll let you talk. And if I have any questions in between, then I'll cut you off.
Okay. Well, all the books are experiential. They have some piece of my soul, my life, and my journey in each and every book. With 31 stories, we run a gamut. We run from outdoor play to loss, coping, and grief. But the thread throughout all 31 is resilience and self acknowledgement and learning to develop your own self esteem and rely on you. Now, all the books, I use nature. Nature is a connectedness theme that I can embrace so that any child on the planet can resonate with my stories. So, for example, The World's Small. So I flip titles. Instead of Small World, it's The World Small. And it's about connectedness. It's about how we all tuck under the same blanket of Mother Sky every night. No matter where the child is in the world, we play in a similar way. All my books rhyme, they're nursery rhymes. And rhyming is gigantic for early childhood development literacy. For literacy, it's huge. So they all rhyme. So, The World Small is about connectedness, emotion, commotion, locomotion. I wasn't raised when I really could emote in a very strong way. I want children to learn they can emote when they're children, not when they're in their 50s. Okay. Each boxcar has a different emotion. I create a feeling. The child can take the feeling in, it's rhyming, they can memorize it, and they can recall it when they need it. Okay. The Tinker Sleep. This is about not turning to electronics if you wake in the middle of the night. This is about turning to paper and pen or crayon or pencil. You know, the Morning Good. Instead of good morning, I flip it, right? So this is all about greeting the morning with optimism. What better way than with polar bears and the northern lights? You know, I could go all day. The Need Gnome. You know what this is from? I
What?
phrase in my head at one point. If only I'd known. You know how people sometimes they're not there for you, and if they say if only I'd known. So this is about the Need Gnome who you can visit and you can tell your needs to in a safe space. The Need Gnome is there for you. I mean, girlfriend, I can go all day. I have the My Name Is books. These are all about identity, self, growth, duality, internal, external. My Name Is Wing is a wing that has been clipped and looks like a ring. And it has to make an adjustment slight to set its outlook right. This is what I do. I rhyme all day. This is my Dr. MLK book, The Inclusive All. Now, this is a play on all inclusive, but this is a different kind of resort. This is a journey to a place where everything beautifully, organically interacts. And the child is invited to explore this space, even though it takes a journey there. It's about journeying there in the imagination. And and the artwork in this book is just, I mean, we've got, you know, we've got peacocks, this book is all
Beautiful, man.
I mean,
You create those illustrations?
I curated all of the art,
Wow.
all of it. I mean, I had 27 books. They're about 21, 22 pages because they're children's books. But I had the cover and the art for all of them in 14 days. 27 books. Girl, I was on fire. My Name Is Light. The boots rain instead of rain boots. Individuality. This is about the beautiful boots falling down from the sky.
Do you speak at events?
I want to.
Wow, you need to go to an elementary school and tell them, just have the book, spread it out and tell them each. Yes.
That's the goal. Turning the books into audio was genius because what's happening is they're getting picked up by a company called Hoopla, which is a digital audio library. People can check my books out without even paying a dime. And I say, try before you buy, because I know the minute that you find me, you're going to want more, because it's a layer of support for children. And anybody who loves and adores children wants them to have as many layers of support that they can possibly have.
With two of the books that you first initially did, can you tell me about how that day went for you and how long it took you in that day to create, and what were you going through? What was your purpose in creating those two? Because you have 31, so we'll talk about just two of them.
My first book, and if I can pull it out for you, is My Name Is Mountain. My first book came from a journal prompt. I'm in a healing program, and there was a journal prompt, and it led me to write a poem called My Name Is Mountain. My name is Mountain. A child meets Mountain, and the child says, "What's your name?" And Mountain says, "My name is Mountain." It's not a he or she. It's, "My name is Mountain." Child's like, "That's funny because you look like a hole, the opposite of what a mountain would be." And the mountain's like, "Wait a minute, I'm a mountain, okay? But by the way, child, I did give my pebbles away when anyone came to visit me from my base. I did want them to take a piece of me home with them." And the child's like, "There's no pebbles left, Mountain." So the mountain, trying to serve its purpose and do right, it gave itself away one pebble at a time, didn't it? Wow. That was my first. My Name is Mountain. And I mean, I feel it's a very significant book, but they all came as poems, right? And then the second is the night quiet. So instead of quiet night, this is my good night moon. This is poetry to send a child off to sleep because the child is going to ask the night quiet to join them, to fluff up their pillow and stay, and keep the date that night quiet has always promised the child belongs to them.
Well done. Well done, Kelly. So, have you ever thought about getting in contact? If you had, okay, I'm gonna rephrase the question. If you wanted to speak to like PBS, if you had 2 minutes to speak to PBS to pitch an idea for a cartoon, what would you tell them, Kelly?
I would say my books are ready for children in any format that they can receive it in. And to take them because they are a layer of support that the child will not only learn from, but be able to recall at any moment in time going forth when they find themselves in a particular situation. And what better way to give children a gift than to give them literature that teaches them, supports them, but doesn't preach to them.
Well done. Well said. And tell me, like, what would you do? What would be your mission statement, number one? And number two, what would be your direct goal in producing possible cartoons, if that's something you are interested in for the future, or producing more books? What would be your goals in doing that?
My goals are for children to have me like I had Hans Christian Andersen, like I had Dr. Seuss, but
Yes.
new, fresh literature that comes from a modern mindset that can bridge the gap between history and today in a way that makes the child learn about resilience and coping and taking something with wheels outside a door. My concepts are simple, and that's why they would work in a production. They're simple, but they are layered, just like those authors I spoke to you about. And because my vibration is for the inner child when I write, the inner child will respond to that vibration in a way that feels familiar. And the adults will say, these books should have always been here.
I agree. I agree. Where do you see yourself going in the future with all of this, Kelly?
Ooh, so far. Because I see myself in hospitals. I see myself in the family visiting rooms in prisons where those families need these books. I see myself traveling abroad and speaking to children in countries where they just don't have that much. If I could give these away, I would. And when I can, I will. Because this is not about me. This is about the childhood collective that deserves fresh nursery rhymes that not only entertain them, but support them and give them a gift that they can rely on that becomes a piece of their soul.
What is the age limits that you hit? The 5 to 10, or how old?
Girl, so 8-month-old babies respond to my books. Now, you pick a genre when you do publishing, and I picked 4 to 8. 8-month-old, especially like the Morning Good with the polar bears and the northern lights. So as early as 8 months old. And I will tell you this, I know 80-year-olds who read my books and get something out of them. That's what makes them timeless. That's what makes them important. And that's what's going to lead to more from me, because this is just the start. I am curating contemporary poetry. I have over 70 poems for grown-ups, because what I want is the child to grow with me and then adult with me, because I have so much to say. And my contemporary poetry is so amazing. It's so comforting. It speaks to so many experiences that really get deep into your soul. And I can't wait to get those out in the public. It's just I'm doing the best I can with timing. And then of course I'm also painting. I'm painting. I'm I'm creating stories with paint. And you'd be amazed what comes out on my canvases when I paint. I'm like, whoa, what is that? Because I paint intuitively. So all of a sudden I'm like, that looks like a face. That looks like an angel. That looks like a family. And I'm like, it's hard to kind of explain it, but it's fantastic.
And we'll say it, by the way. If you one more question, what time is it? Okay. I wanted to know, Kelly, what if you wanted to get into doing either cartoons or maybe a podcast to start getting out your books that way, or maybe going on free event sites and posting events of when your new book is going to come out, whatever the case may be, even classifieds, get yourself in the classified section of your newspaper of South Carolina, and just putting it out there. I'll see what I can do on my end, because this is a wonderful thing. This is a very wonderful thing to have students between the ages of 4 and 8, if not 80, if not, um, you said 8 months, just listen to your rhymes. It's a beautiful thing. So let's pretend like I'm a director of something on PBS. Tell me what you want to see out of the cartoon. What do you want to see out of the cartoon of one of your books?
I want to see my words come to life in a way that the child will integrate it, that it will create a feeling, that it will create a connection that they can take into their system, that becomes something to rely upon as all the experiences in life unfold. And they will, and they do. And that they deserve to have the imagery that matches the words that I get, because they're special and because the children deserve it. And especially public television. Especially these books are meant for every single child, every inch of the planet. Accessibility. PBS provides accessibility. That would be what I would hope and pray for, because I know children will rely on the words and that they will know there's something out there for them that supports them, that they can't necessarily touch, but it's there, and they can soak it in and they can feel it and they can absorb it, and it will literally lift them up.
Well said, Kelly. I'm gonna jump you. I'm just saying it like worldwide, that I'm gonna jump you in front of everybody and edit your video today so you can be on Thurston County Media here. And I want to get the message out. What goals do you have for the future as far as with your books? Are you going to make more books? Are you going to get on a podcast? You say you want to go worldwide and travel. You said other things as well, but extend that to what you want Thurston County Media to know about your goals.
I want Thurston County Media to know that what I am doing is special, and that what I am doing is beyond me. What I am doing is answering the call of the childhood collective. The poetry, the stories came for them through me. It's semi miraculous. And there's so much more. And if I'm given the ability to share what I have, I can continue to produce. I continue to do more, because that's the reason I'm on the planet. This is the reason. And I will not stop until I'm done, and until my books are in the hands of children everywhere. I want my books in the Dollar Tree for 99 cents. I want them accessible, because every child deserves the message they bring, because it's from a greater consciousness. That's why Inclusive All is MLK's book. That's why, My Name is Wing is for Blessed Chiara Bandano. That's, these are special. I am not. The books are. Take a chance on me.
Oh my God, you're so special. It was a reason why we linked up. And if you when you do more books in the future, can you give us a little short conversation about what those books are going to be for the future and how they're going to help educate the children?
Yes. It would be my honor and privilege. Your energy is fantastic. I feel like I could spend a whole weekend with you and never sleep.
Thank you. You too. Like what kind of goals would you have for, like, what kind of books would you have like for the future? Like what would
Well,
it be
I'm
about?
more nursery rhymes. I mean, left and right. Like I said, I had to tap it and cut it off at a certain number due to the investment I was making personally. So, I've got the throwaway day. I've got the station weather instead of weather station. I have instead of inspiration strike, I have the strike inspiration. I mean, I have at least 20 more children's books written, ready to go. You know, I, I want to do it. And what I try to do is say yes when I can, which, by the way, is every time. Every time I get an opportunity. I went to the Los Angeles Times Festival of Books. You know,
Oh,
um, yeah,
wow.
yeah. I got to go to a gifting suite. It's called the DPA Pre-Golden Globes Gifting Suite, and it's a very particular way to say it. I got to sign one of my books called The Catcher Dream. It's about boundaries instead of dream catcher. I got to sign and give my books to the people at the top of their game that were nominated for Golden Globes, and they congratulated me.
Is
The
you Yeah.
sky is the limit, girlfriend. The sky. I am dedicated to this cause. This is why I'm here. And I intend to show up whenever I'm invited and just do the best I can to get my name in the books out there so that the children have them as soon as possible. That's why the libraries are huge. That's why being able to download off a library is gigantic. And the more library systems that pick me up, I would say I would be eternally grateful for that.
Yes, you would. And it would be an awesome thing to have you in all of the library systems and online and in physical hard copy book. So tell me, like, what kind of things you see yourself doing, like when you create these books, because I already asked you about your future, I already asked you about your past, so let's kind of go backwards a little bit. Why did Miss Kelly Anne Manuel do start books? Like, what made the light just click on and you was just like, I want to do books?
The more work I did on me, the more healing I did of trauma, the more I unloaded the gunk. Okay, so it's like a DIY home, and you go in and you're hoping for hardwoods, and you peel back a corner of the linoleum and the shag carpet from the 70s, hoping for hardwoods. The books were always there. They were under the linoleum, orange and brown, whatever. They were under the shag, purple carpet, right? They were always there. When I did the work and peeled back those layers, they were like, finally, there we are. Do you see us now? Can we please be born? That's what it was like. And I say the books came as easy as breathing. The words came as easy as taking a breath in and out. I was in flow. I was in flow with universe, and it was a beautiful gift, and I knew it. And I was like, I got to write all this down. I got to get this published. I became very single-minded because it felt so incredible. It was almost like the universe said, "Hey, you've done a lot of work. We think some of your experiences would suit our stories for children. How about you do them for us? How about the loving, most beautiful part of the universe coming to me with that. And I said, of course, I'm your girl. Next thing you know, I have 31 books in 6 months published. It's almost like Field of Dreams, the movie Field of Dreams, where you have to have some sort of trust. See, because I did the work, because I got back to true self, because I connected with my inner child. That's why I could hear it. I established external quiet and internal quiet. By doing so, I created the flow. The creativity lives in the heart of the true self. It was dying to come out. I had to allow it to come out by doing the work.
You know, those nursery rhymes can actually have a own. I know I keep talking about like a cartoon, but just imagine like whatever you want to call it, whatever they suggest or however it go down, you just say you just have storylines of your different 31 books. That's season 1, and then you start on a season 2 where you have different storylines of rhymes. That would be so awesome. Children like rhyming, children like music, you know. I wish nothing but the best for you. Like, how can the people find you, Kelly?
Girlfriend, I'm on Goodreads. And that's the best way because what I'm doing is I'm reading and I'm telling my folks, this is what this book says to me. And I feel like that's the best way for Kelly Anne Manuel to connect because that's where I live. I live in the world of literature. That's when I'm at my best. That's when my best foot is coming forward. Goodreads is the best place for me at this time. And people can follow me and they can comment and they can see how I feel about something and they can decide if it's for them or not for them. I don't even mind. I'm just glad to have them.
What were your challenges and what were your encouragements while making these books?
I did this in a lot of quiet. I was in a place of, I would say, pretty isolated at the time due to my circumstances in my life.
Mhm.
And because of that, it was actually a gift to have that quiet and to have that isolation. Because without it, I don't know if I ever would have heard what I heard with
Mhm.
all the noise and all the busy and all the rushing. And it was almost like I had to stand still long enough for it to be allowed so I could hear it without the distractions. So that was what helped the quiet. You know what the hardest part was?
What?
I had to write 31 synopsises to explain to someone buying the story what it can do. I know intuitively what it can do. Do you know how hard it is to put into writing what a story that you know is from your heart and soul can do for a child? Now, I submitted 30 synopsises in 3 weeks in July so that they could all be published in August and September. And the synopsises, I think, turned out fantastic. That was the most challenging part, though, because I had everything else done, ready to go, but the book can't be published without the synopsises. And I needed them to be important. And I needed them to speak to who's interacting with the book, who's either purchasing it, taking it out from the library. And I needed to be able to connect with that person holding the story in their hands in a way that would touch them. That's what I had to do.
For 2 minutes, can you tell me if you wanted to give a piece of advice because you deserve like a Nobel Peace Prize or to be in Who's Who, number one. But if you had to give a piece of advice to an entrepreneur that want to write short stories like that or nursery rhymes or however, whatever kind of book novel, what would it be and how did you get over everything going on, you know?
Okay, my biggest piece of advice is to silence the inner critic. There's an inner critic
Yeah.
that wants to take over sometimes. It's very pesky. It can be very loud. And I say, acknowledge it. Be like, oh, yeah, I see you. I see you, inner critic. Hey, by the way, go get a Starbucks. Go take,
I love it. Continue.
go get a coffee. It's on me, even. I have work to do. You're getting in my way. You're not being helpful. So, the whole thing about the inner critic is often it was developed in a time in our childhood where it was meant to be helpful. At some point, it stops being helpful and it becomes hurtful. That's why my books are all about positive self talk. I'm trying to get children to have positive self talk in childhood that they don't have to undo later, right? I'm trying to prevent that inner critic that I cope with at my age. This is one of the goals of the books. So, inner critic, take a coffee break. We'll chat later. Let me get down to work. You would be amazed at what can come from true self when you do that coffee break for that inner critic. And by the way, focus on starting small. I talk about embracing the spirit of the seed. A seed is tiny. A seed is planted in the ground. It's dark. What motivates it to push up and break through the ground when it doesn't even know what awaits it when it does? Focus on not what we see that breaks through, that we enjoy and that we get to celebrate. Focus on the journey from the seed getting to the top of the ground. That's the journey of a creative. That's what matters. And an inner critic is going to tell the seed, you're out of your mind. What? You don't know what's above the ground. Hey, by the way, you're in the dark. Hey, by the way, do you even have the energy for that? Would the seed even bother if it listened to the inner critic? I don't think so. And then would it ever become a giant sequoia? Would it ever become a forest? Would it ever become a magical, enchanted forest?
Well said, Kelly. You should write a biography about yourself too. Oh my God. If you don't know this question, it's okay. This is the last question, but what part you're using the creative part of your brain, right?
I'm tapping into flow, which is all parts and pieces of me. So it's actually more from a place of the inner child and
What?
true self that I write from. It's actually more in the heart space than in the head space. The head space, I find, actually is what gets me into trouble.
Yeah.
That's where I don't believe or I start to question or become critical or doubtful. So I try when I'm in flow to create from the heart space when it's regarding children from the inner child space. A child wants a book from another child. Does a child want a book from a 55-year-old woman? I don't think so. They want the young Kelly to speak to them. They want the fun Kelly. They want the Kelly that's flipping titles and having boots fall from the sky instead of the rain. They want to go to the end of the rainbow with me, which is where I take them in my stories. They want to go on the emotion commotion locomotion. They want to feel and connect with my inner child. And that's the best possible thing I can do for them.
Well said. And you said that people can reach you where once again, because some people came on.
Oh yeah, Goodreads. Go to Goodreads. Follow me on Goodreads. That's the best place because you're going to get the most information from me about how I'm seeing the world through other literature, which is so important. And it's exciting. And please comment, and when they do. Oh, by the way, I have a YouTube channel.
Tell
And
me
I
about
read it's Kelly Anne Manuel, and I read 4 of the books on the channel to the children.
Get out of here. Send me one so I can put it somewhere. If you can, just send me something so I can know exactly what you do and post it on my page or something.
Oh, you are so kind. It means so much to me. It's so validating to have someone like you get this. It just makes me want to jump for joy and do cartwheels, although I have absolutely no athletic ability.
Okay, Kelly, stay
You
on.
get me. You see
Get
me.
it. I swear to God, that's why I'm not laughing. I understand. That's how I am. Okay, stay on the line, Kelly. You guys give her a round of applause. 31 books in less than 6 months, right? Oh my God, that is serious work. You take care, Kelly. Stay on the line, and y'all take care, and I'll see y'all in a bit.